What's up, guys? It's Papega, and I just kind of want to talk about, 10 things that I'm really hoping to see come to Once Human, whether that be features, things you can, do, install, ways that you can play, things like that. I think number one for me, and the biggest one, is going to be public garages. Give me some type of way, even if I have to pay energy links for it. Like, you could go to like Deadsville or Myers Market, or specific safe zones in the world that have garages that you can repair your vehicle. I know I'm not the only one that has been out there, and all of a sudden I hit too many copper nodes and my vehicle's broken. So that's probably going to be the biggest thing I'd love to see changed or implemented. Number two has to be either farm plots snap together or next to each other, or they allow us to make bigger ones. There is nothing, and I mean nothing, more annoying than the single farm plots that we get right now. I cannot for the life of me make it look good. You're never going to get perfectly symmetrical farm plots unless you spend just hours sitting there looking at it. So I would love to see something like further down the farming tree in the memetics, you get a larger plot that can hold, let's say, like 3 seeds, right? And it's the size of 3 of those plots, and it's 3 times the cost. I think that seems pretty easy to implement, and if they don't want to do that, at least make it so they snap together. That's definitely going to be a big one for me. The next one for me is sort of a weird one. I doubt it'll ever get implemented, but there are games nowadays that are doing it, most notably The First Descendant, which I get it, like, they've been under some fire, but a drop rate percentage over loot and things like that, because there are times where, like, it'll say, for example, like the industrial zones that you put the Blackfell key cards into, and certain ones have the chance of dropping the Maiden Deviant. I still haven't gotten her to drop. I've done dozens of them. And I'm even starting to second guess myself, like, am I doing something wrong? Is there a certain way to do it? But nope, it's just a drop chance. I would love to be able to physically see a drop chance there. I think that would be absolutely huge. Next up, as simple as it's going to be, and I think a lot of people are going to disagree with this because it seems fine already, is a more robust melee system. As you can see in the background footage here, I pretty much only melee. The only time I use firearms is against bosses or elites if I feel like I can't safely get close to them, but I much prefer in pretty much any game is just be a very melee focused build, just because I like that Ooga Booga play style, if you will. So if we could get something a little bit more robust as far as melee goes, that would be great, or more deviants that really lean into that melee play style, like I believe it's called the Void Cat, which is my favorite deviant in the game. It's unfortunate that mine really sucks. But yeah, just a more robust melee system would be great. Number 6 is going to be, and this is a very big one for me, I like the dropped gear system a lot. Like, genuinely, I enjoy it. I think it's a really cool concept. What I don't like is that you don't get blueprints towards it. Like, I'm sorry, if I'm disassembling a gun, I should slowly learn how to craft that gun. I understand you get its calibration from it, which is cool, but if I find like a legendary AK-47, or I think of the game they're called cams, and I find enough of them, and by legendary I mean the yellows, I don't know if they're actually called legendaries, but if I find like 8 yellow AKs and I disassemble them, I should get points towards a blueprint towards it, right? Even if it's 3 or 4, it gives you something to grind for. You can say, I know that this boss has a high chance of dropping an AK, so I'm going to go there because that's the kind of rifle I want. The wish machine and the gacha system is fun-ish, but it's the star crom that you need to spend on the wish machine is so expensive. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't have the will to save my StarCrom until I can just buy a blueprint outright. I just don't have the will for that. My willpower is 0 when it comes to that stuff. I also play a lot of games like Genshin and Honkai, so I like gacha elements, but I don't like it in a survival game like this. I just feel like it's unnecessary, so they shouldn't lean too heavily into it and let us disassemble guns to then craft more guns. This next one is rather small, but regardless, it drives me crazy. I would like to see an improvement made to the wildlife's AI. Now, I know a lot of you cooks out there are like, no, it's so great that they just fucking stand there and die. But, you know, hear me out. I primarily cook in this game, as you'll see in the background footage. This few times I open up my backpack. I very much like to cook, so I'm all about that, but we've got Lethal Rabbit, so we don't really need to go out and farm that stuff as long as you've got him going and his mood is high and you've got all that stuff. But regardless, it really kills my immersion when I'm driving through the world and all of a sudden 8 deer spawn right in front of me and they just stand there. Like, it just feels really cheap, and I'm not a fan, so I would really like if they did, and not an overhaul, but just an increase in the intelligence of the wildlife AI. I think the AI in general in the entire game is obviously going to get increased throughout the lifespan of the game because it is live service, but I don't want them to forget that the wildlife exists, right? Let's not do that. For number 8, and this is such a huge pain point for me, and I know, I'm so aware it's a skill issue, and y'all are going to tell me it's a skill issue, and, like, I get that, but I think they're called vultures, the vulture enemy types that have the bombs strapped to them. If I am exploring a fucking building, and another one of those guys come around the corner at level 10, right? He's a level 10, I'm a level 50. If he comes around the corner, gives me a hug, and one-shots me down, and takes one of my fucking adrenaline shots, I'm gonna lose my mind. Take him out of the game. No, okay, don't take him out of the game, but their damage needs to be nerfed. It shouldn't be a one-shot kill unless you're, you know, a low level or maybe all your gear is broken. I don't know. I just think the damage on them needs to be toned down quite a bit, because I don't even go into vulture territories unless I absolutely have to, because I dread those guys. The spiders that have the gas canisters on their back, those are a little bit easier to deal with because they're much more obvious. You can hear spiders skittering around, and with the sound design and the AI sound in this game, I mean, you've all heard it. Someone could be shooting right behind you, but it'll sound like they're 10 feet in front of you. I'd really like those guys to get toned down just a little bit so I can stop using my fucking adrenaline shots whenever I'm in vulture territory. And again, I get it, skill issue, but regardless, it drives me crazy. Number 9 for me, this one's going to seem dumb, and maybe it's because I do a lot of farming in this game, and I hate the farming. I hate farming in any game, but it's very important in this game if you are going heavily into like cooking and stuff like that. That's how I primarily make all my acid, is by selling it or trading it with legendary dishes. So anything that's going to make cooking easier and farming especially easier is nice. There is a deviant you can get, I forget its name, it's a mushroom deviant, and it will automatically harvest and plant seeds for you. Now, with how the hit boxes and detection boxes in the game work, if you have all of your plots right next to each other, it can get very annoying trying to select the right plot, especially if you have several different plants growing. So I would like to be able to give that guy a total of 3 separate seed types that he can plant at any given time. Obviously the drawback is he'll plant them in wherever there's an open plot, and I think that's totally okay. I think that's a decent enough drawback. Yeah, I don't know. I hate that he can only do 1 at a time. So if I only have like 4 peppercorn seeds, right, and I'm going to be going to sleep for the night, I'm going to wake up and he wouldn't have done anything because he would have planted those peppercorn seeds and then would have just sat there and done nothing. Maybe I'm spoiled. I don't know. Maybe it's a stupid change. It's just something I'd like to see. And for the final one, this one's small because I already mentioned that I sort of like the drop gear system, and I've already talked about my major pain points with it, but I don't think they should be unrepairable. If you guys don't know, if you're playing the game and you pick up, whether you loot it out of a crate or you get it from a boss drop or whatever it is, let's say you get gloves. These gloves are going to come with a random durability between 0 and 100. Let's say you get gloves with like 50% durability, right? Every time you should be able to repair dropped gear, but you lose maximum durability every single time you repair them. So let's say you have gloves, obviously max durability is 100%. You get the gloves and you repair them once, 75, 50, 25. Every time you repair them, it goes down, obviously, until the point where they're broken forever. So that would be a big change that I think would go a long way to just making the dropped gear system more fun. As it stands, Once Human is one of my favorite games of all time, and I only have 60 hours in it. This game's incredible. So I just wanted to talk about a few, well, 10 things that I'd like to see changed or implemented in the future. If these things don't happen, you know, whatever. But this game's new, guys. Let's share all of our ideas in the comments down below. We can talk about it, we can have a discussion, and we can all make this game a better place in the future. And that's going to do it for my cheeky little 10 list of things that I want to see changed in Once Human. I implore you guys, I invite you guys to go down below in the comments, talk about some of the things that you want changed, and who knows, maybe a developer reads this and says, you know what, we haven't thought about that. It's so simple, but we haven't thought about that. Let's implement it. You never know how these things work. In the meantime, while we're doing all that, guys, make sure to like and subscribe. I'm so close to my 1,000 subscriber goal. I want to keep making content for Once Human. I just have to make sure it's feasible for me. Best thing you can do for me is subscribe. That's it. Like and subscribe. And I also, a little birdie tells me that 100% of people that watch my videos aren't subscribed. So even if you think you've subscribed, make sure to double check. Do it. How many times can I say subscribe? Thank you guys so much. I hope you have a wonderful day and get out there and, you know, fucking loot stuff. Mwah.